Many people do the carnivore diet with dairy in it and they are very successful at it, and yet some of us struggle. Let's talk about it in today's video. Welcome back to my channel. I am Sylvia. I'm a carnivore diet coach. First things first, autoimmunity. Especially if you have the joint condition. There is no good amount of dairy that you can consume, not even as a condiment, not even as a sprinkle over your steak. You just have to cut it all out. But on the positive note, the results follow really quickly. I have to yet come across a rheumatoid arthritis case that was able to eliminate rheumatoid arthritis with carnivore diet and having dairy in it. So if you've been on a carnivore diet for a while and you consume dairy, cut it out and see what happens. I'm quite confident you will start noticing major improvements. The really nasty thing about dairy is that you might be dealing with the after effects of eating dairy 2 weeks later. And sometimes I run into these situations when I'll have a client that is complaining that the carnivore diet is not working for them, but we'll go back what they ate like 2-3 weeks ago, and if there's dairy, chances are they're still dealing with dairy after effects today. So if you're dealing with autoimmunity, stay away from dairy for extended period of time. Let's talk about constipation, because it seems like 80% of the United States has issue with this condition. And if you are doing carnivore diet with dairy in it, try removing it if you still have constipation on the carnivore diet. I'm quite confident that that will take care of your constipation. Even if you are not on the carnivore diet, removing of dairy will help you with your bowel movement as well. And you know, those of you carnivores that will have cheesecake from time to time, you know your bowel movements will change after you have cheesecake. I know, I've tried it on me too. And while we are talking about cheesecake, it gives me no pleasure to talk about removing of dairy from the diet, because I know it is delicious. I did everything possible to keep dairy in my diet. I did my own yogurt, I got milk from the farm, I fermented it myself, I made my own cheeses, my own kefirs. No, I had to give it up in order to get rid of rheumatoid arthritis. And I know some of you will have questions because a lot of you are also familiar with the GAPS diet, and fermented dairy is part of the GAPS protocol. And yet I oftentimes get clients from the GAPS diet that cannot fix their gut issues until they give up dairy. Oh, and if you are interested in the paleo-ketogenic diet developed by Paleo Medicina, there is a hard no on that protocol. There is no dairy even in the maintenance phase of the paleo-ketogenic diet, and Paleo Medicina has a solid argument against it. There are studies demonstrating that consumption of dairy for extended period of time in large quantities increases breast cancer rates in women by 30% and prostate cancer in men by 14%. There is some medical evidence to cut back on dairy, even if you don't have any medical issues that you need to address with the diet. But if you're on the ketogenic diet and you lost tons of weight and now you are considering to switch to the carnivore diet because you just can't get rid of those last 10-15 pounds, well, before you go on the carnivore, or if you're on the carnivore with dairy and you can't lose weight, cut out dairy and see what happens. A lot of people end up losing all the weight they want when they stop eating dairy. And what if you are a breastfeeding mother, you have a newborn, and few weeks into breastfeeding they develop eczema here, maybe on the eyes, on the arms, the back, the front, the legs, eczema everywhere. The conventional advice is switch into formula. I say stop eating dairy and gluten, obviously, and see what happens. This happened with both of my sons. I was eating tiny amounts of dairy postpartum. As soon as I cut it out, my son's eczema went away. Consequently, if you have all sorts of skin issues, things like eczema yourself, cut out dairy. Obviously, you might have to cut out wheat as well if you're not on the carnivore diet already, and see what happens. Skin issues also resolve when you get rid of dairy from your diet. And this phenomenon is a little less known, but some of us struggle with it. If you are one of those people that wake up in the morning with a puffy face, there's usually two reasons that cause it: consumption of alcohol and or dairy. So if you have puffy eyes, puffy face upon waking, get rid of dairy from your diet. Chances are this will improve. Actually, I know for a fact from many testimonials from my own client that dairy gives them puffy face and puffy eyes, and the moment they stop eating it, things improve. And lastly, if you are lactose intolerant, it goes without saying, stay away from dairy. It doesn't matter what it is, you are better off without dairy. Also, if you have the leaky gut condition or any sort of gut issues, you will be better off staying away from dairy, at least for the duration of the dietary intervention into your health. Now later, maybe if you want to really introduce it in small amounts, sparingly, you may be able to, but leaky gut too does better if you get rid of dairy. I know it's hard to give up dairy. I know it tastes delicious. I personally love cheeses. I love kefir. I totally love kefir. And I like cheesecakes. New York cheesecake, Polish cheesecake, Japanese cheesecake, Basque cheesecake, any cheesecake really. I love them. I would eat them regularly, but I can't. And my health does better if I stay away from dairy. Was I able to introduce it back to my diet? Yes, but in very small amounts and from time to time. The first thing I notice when I bring back dairy is my bowel movement is not as efficient. So I know it may be hard, try it, your health is worth it. If you want to be coached by me, the links to my coaching site are in the description box. Share it with anybody that you think may benefit from this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!